And just like that, I'm not walking currently. What's going on? My name is Mitchell Milliken. I've never really posted a video with this type of format because it's not really in the intent of my channel. My channel is called Freshwater Vibe. Often not planned videos. It's just whatever I can capture when going to the beach on the shores of Lake Michigan, catching waves, catching views, catching vibes. Normally, I would never do a talking video like this, but as you can see, um, pretty unexpected life event happened what is now 9 days ago today, and tried to make a video a couple days ago. I had to pick up this mic because the audio was terrible, and is the point of telling a story if you can't be heard? So I just want to do a quick video, quick update on basically what happened and what the outlook looks like moving on from here. So again, if you've been following the videos, I appreciate it. What got me into shooting the GoPros first is I fell in love with lake surfing as a teenager, and finding good waves on the lake, especially before the days of smartphones, before the days of having the weather reports live with you in the car, it was sometimes very hard and elusive to find lake waves. So the GoPro was like, man, if I find good waves and I record it, it wasn't even like a I want to show off, brag to people type of thing. It was literally just like I felt like a treasure hunter, because gotcha. So, and it doesn't happen that often because our waves are often rough, as you know, through the footage. But I love it either way. Absolutely love it. Absolutely why I live in the area that I do. Literally 6 years ago, literally said, I'll figure out a way, quit my job, sold my house, and moved closer to the beach, specifically to surf. So this setback is a new one in all these years and all the efforts. But yeah, I just want to put a quick video together, speak my mind from the point and the place in which I stand, fully projecting that I'm not going to be standing here for long. So, like I said, boom, I'm a lake surfer. Like I said, boom, moved here 6 years ago. But let's see, about 20, I don't even know, 26, no, I'm sorry, 2018 is when I moved. But I probably got into surfing 2010, 2011. But I grew up in a town that was probably about an hour's drive from the beach. And I grew up working class, so I had a job to maintain always. Time was always short. So when I say I surfed for 10 years, the beginning of it was far more broken up. And there would be weeks go by that I didn't make it to the water. And there would be, countless times of waves where I would miss out. And of course, that still happens now, but it's obviously increased dramatically since moving closer to the lake. I moved from about an hour away to about 10 minutes away. So huge difference, and been a huge difference on my surfing. As I moved closer, I also got a pickup truck, which I did not have when I lived further away. And so kind of all at the same time, I got into paddle surfing. And I've been doing that the majority of the time for probably the last 6 years. Just for me personally, my body weight, my surfing style, heavy footedness, I don't know what you want to call it, slightly less buoyant, freshwater, tighter wave interval, near wind blown waves versus far offshore storms. So pitchy waves, waves that are kind of chaotic. A lot of times they're not, they're not concentrated energy like you would see in an ocean swell. It is more like the ripple of the top of a cup when you blow a straw on a massive scale. And so there are pitches and peaks. And all I'm getting at is, for me, unless the buoy is, say, above, I don't know, 4 foot, 4.5 foot, for me, I have found a whole world of excitement in paddle surfing out in the lakes. And in those 6 years, I've accumulated, I really honestly don't know, and this sounds ridiculous to say, but 12 paddle boards, maybe more. Right now I have 8, but I've sold quite a few. And that's just to show how much I enjoyed it. And surfboards, paddle boards, I mean, they really are like a bag of golf clubs. You take one out, it serves a purpose. You take another one out, it serves a purpose. You take one out, you don't like it that much, so you got to go get another one. And then, it's just nothing's ever going to work perfect in that endeavor. And a lot of surfers would probably stuff their nose up at those kind of numbers, but I say, hey, knock on the door, bro. Knock on the door. So, okay. So that's kind of it. That's kind of the backstory. All right. Boom. Here we go. So 9 days ago, I'm at my local beach, Washington Park, locally here in Michigan City. 4th year they put it on, and it was later in the summer than it was supposed to be. But this particular day, the beach was having a sandcastle festival. And I took a few pictures, not a lot. I'll probably throw them in the video just for reference. But it's only the 4th year Michigan City has done this event. It's really neat because you have master sand sculptors, maybe from all over the world, and if not, definitely from all over the country. I remember specifically a guy was from San Diego. Come here, make these beautiful sand castles. They put together a little food truck venue, local vendors. It's a nice little event. A guy just on the island drums. I mean, you're just out in the beautiful sun. So boom. Anyways, we go to the beach, check that out, get some food. My wife and I, and just a quick pass through. It's a great day. There was horrible rain for the event, and so Sunday had cleared up. It was beautiful, and we were shocked that, wow, you guys actually still managed to sculpt these beautiful sand castles, because like the whole previous day was not just a rainstorm. It was like pelting rain, like the worst kind of rain for sandcastle building. So I don't know. We were there. We were vibing, having a great time. We got some cool run-ins, which is a local Jamaican food, jerk chicken tacos. Delicious. Have a great time. All right, now it's time to go to the beach. So we're going to go to a friend's house, but as with any beach area, there is very little parking. And so by the time I get out of the festival, get down to the friend's house, there's nowhere to park. So I go halfway back to the main parking area and park at one of the stops up the beach away. And my wife and I grab the 2 paddleboards and head down to the beach. 2.6-foot buoy. So that's creating 3 to 4 foot nice on the big sets, 3 to 4 foot faces out on the second sandbar. When I say 4 foot, I mean the top lip of the wave right before it crests. It's probably about 4 foot above the flat water. And so we're at the beach for probably 3 hours. Of that time, I paddleboarded this little 8.3 for the whole time, probably about 3 hours, chilling outside, chilling on the shore for a little bit, couple breaks, couple waters, and then back out there. And my wife even came out, and she was on a bigger 10.8, surf shape, but a bigger, floatier 10.8. And it was just a little kind of nasty, messy water, but the buoy was so small, it by no means was treacherous. It was poor conditions is the best way to say it, with some waves, with the very occasional decent set. And so, all I was trying to do, the 8.3 I was on, this is the 3rd time I was on the SUP. Again, this is my probably 12th SUP I've bought. This is the shortest one I've had. I'm very accustomed to riding 9-footers. This is an 8.3. I'm accustomed to riding more of a pro shape with a very thin pointed nose, but a lot of rocker on the nose and really pulled up. This board is a little flatter, fatter, just nubbier nose. Really good for groveling and small wave ripping. But this particular day, it worked against me because of the poor conditions, because of all the surface chop. And I didn't mention this, but conditions were always poor, but it was much better when we were at the festival and the wind started picking up from a opposing direction though. So it really textured the surface. But again, it's a new board. The season is fast approaching, and it has actually been very, very flat this summer. There's been very little opportunity to ride anything. So, I mean, I did surf this one previous session, and I hadn't even had time. I was so busy before all this happened that I hadn't had time to put the video together. But I had one session on this board. I had a great time. I'm definitely going to get that video out in my recovery season here. But so I was just really wanting to surf, and I'm out there. There's really no wave to ride that day. There really all you can do is hunt the sandbar, and you can, the whole time you're out there, because the wave interval, because the surface chop, because the wind on you. I mean, just paddling out past the break, navigating that, getting the board set up for takeoffs and everything. There is a ton of training you can do on days like that. And a lot of people look at you cute, but they don't need to know what you're doing as long as you know what you're doing. And if you feel that right there, hey, I'll just say Godspeed to you, man, sis, whatever. Um, so at most, I was getting a couple nice drops, hit that little 4-foot lip, get that nice little rail engagement on a drop, and maybe one turn. And after that, you might get a whitewash push out, but I mean, it was just one of those days where there's very little else to hit. Anyways, so I'm out there. My wife comes out for like maybe in 30 minutes, 45 minutes. She doesn't paddle nearly as often as I do, but she's been in some rough water, so she's experienced to a point, and she did great. She stayed in between the two sandbars, in between where the waves were breaking, and just kind of chilled. And it was very manageable, but she was wise to do so because, again, she was on a bigger board. And yeah, we were trying to have a chill day. No one was really trying to push anything that hard. So she goes in. I think I help her land. She sits down. We're talking. It's coming up on time to leave, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go back out. I'm not quite ready yet. It was such a nice day, and the wave sucked. But again, I was out in the wave, so I was like, I'm gonna soak this up just a little more, and just paddle back out, just having fun. And I'm gonna get into the actual event now, and this was kind of traumatic, but I have no problem reliving it. But I also want to do this so I can just kind of externalize it and relive it. And then really after this, I will really just distance myself mentally from this, and I'll let it live on through this video. Because it was a heavy ass thing. And I'm grateful. I'm just so grateful and humbled. And I guess maybe I needed this wake-up call in life. But yeah, it's something I'm ready to put in the rearview mirror, if you know what I'm saying. So, a lot of this, I don't know. Here we go. So, like I said, I probably caught 20 little waves that day. Almost done. I'm superstitious to a point, so I'm never the type to be like, okay, let me catch one more wave and call it a day. I'd never do that. My own personal superstition, but I'll always be out there. And I just saw things growing up, to give it context. Like, I was a snowboard instructor, saw a guy with his friends say, let's jump one more time. Boom, he got paralyzed. Just weird things like that, where I'm not going to say it makes anything happen, but I just know well enough that I'm not going to say, let me get one more. But I was to that point where normally when I'm at the point of wanting one more wave, I will just really be patient for a great wave, try to get a great wave without thinking I'm almost done. And then as soon as I get the wave, I'm like, okay, I'm satisfied. It's over. I'll see you again next session. Well, I was about to that point. I'm paddling for a wave, right? And back to that 4 foot of height, or about so. And I'm pretty sure I was taking a right, because I was cracking these sick little right-handers where, again, it's not a great wave, but I mean, shoot, you can hate on me all you want, little ocean surfer. First off, don't really know why you're hating. I never said I was better than you. Second off, go ahead and hate on it. You might not realize I'm in a landlocked place with a lake next to me that's the size of an ocean. And it might not make ocean-like waves, but it'll throw these little right-hander bowls. And I mean, whew. So anyways, I was having fun on those. And I'm out a ways past the swim buoys, and I'm out in the second sandbar, and I'm paddling up for a right-hander. I'm goofy-footed, so I'm standing like this. Well, I'm getting ready to jump to this position and head this way down the wave and just get a nice little bottom turn crack. I mean, and work on some skills. It's a new board. And I don't really recall how it all happened, because it happened in the blink of an eye. I'm paddling, drawn up to the lip of the wave, and right at that same moment, a wind chop buried the nose and totally stopped the board. And so my upper body weight, that momentum continued, and I kind of fell forward. And when I went to jump off, the nose had just come out of the water. And so that combined with my weight jumping off caused the board to jump. And it just so happened that I fell. As I'm falling, the board jumps and flips over. And I, again, don't really recall a lot of this, but the next thing I know, I'm like looking at the fin and falling, and I feel the fin touch my leg, and boom! Then I'm underwater, and I sustained a massive, massive wound to my thigh. Obviously, it's been here in this whole video. Basically, the fin caught the skin of my leg, and it just was a culmination of terrible events. And I fell right into that angle that it caught me at. So, and then as that happened, that little tiny wave came down on my back, because again, I was drawn right up at the lip, coming right up on the impact zone. Wave came down on my back and almost kind of pushed me into it. And I have to be honest, it was such a weird feeling, because I almost felt my leg pop. And so again, before I even come up from underwater, I'm like hit with that shock wave, right? Where it's like disbelief. And I'm looking at it underwater, and I see my, insides sticking out of my leg. And obviously a lot of human life liquid, also known as a 5-letter word that starts with a B. A lot of it, it looked like Shark Week on Discovery Channel there for a second. And I was like, I remember in that moment, literally like everything slows down, you have all these thoughts, and I was literally like, I cannot believe today, I was thinking like, today is the day I gotta fight to live. I gotta fight to survive. And even saying that now to this video sounds kind of crazy, because I'm someone who, like, part of me always stays in that reality. And it just, it's a humbling experience, like I said, because it's like, even though I'm staying in that reality, it still caught me off guard big time. Because again, it was just a little nothing. I've fallen on the SUP on some, for my experience in my reality, I've dropped in on some crazy waves on the lake. I've slammed hard, my personal experience. And so this little tiny wave, the way it got me, the way it did me, the way it packed me out, I mean, that was the first shock. I'm like, wow, I'm ways offshore. I'm out there by myself. A lot of people on the beach, not overly packed, but decent amount of people on the beach, because again, it's summertime. It's a beautiful day. I was fortunate because where the wound happened, and I guess to speak on the wound, what had happened is the whole fin went in my leg. And and for lack of a better word, it stabbed the hell out of me. It wasn't a cut. It was more of a direct whole fin in, whole fin out, because I kind of rolled right out of it, and it was just, and I was very fortunate. I had longer boardies on, no wetsuit, just boardies and a rash guard. The boardies covered this wound, because this was like an inch or two open. It was a lot of tension came off of it. It opened up a lot. Also, when it cut me, it cut through all that inner thigh muscle. So almost instantly, I could still pick up my leg. But this whole motion, I got to rehab all that. And instantly I couldn't do that. So I couldn't stand up. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Before I even got to standing up, my boardies covered the wound. And I was blessed and fortunate to be granted a severe type of shock, but it enabled me to almost calm down and to have very clear thinking. Because like I said, instantly I was like, really? Life and death right now? Really? It was just so shocking. And then it was like, okay, I gotta live. I gotta live through this, because no. So I took the board shorts in the deep water still. I just pushed the board into the shallows, maintained safe control between the SUP and the waves. The waves were small. I was inside of the outer break. So the waves were folding over probably 20, 30 feet outside of me. And I took the boardies and I kind of flipped it back over my leg. And it kind of just closed it. And then I took the boardies, pulled them very tight with my fist, kind of like this. And then I rolled my hand like 3 times. And it put a really nice seal on that wound, almost to where I was controlling the blood as long as my leg was still. And then if I tried to kick my leg a little bit, it would just gush blood. And so I was almost relieved in that first second, but I was still very, very afraid. And for the first time in my life, mind you, I've never been in an experience in my life where I had to tell someone, I need you to call 911. I need some serious help. I've never been in that situation. So I'm getting into shore, pushing the board in. I get to the point where I can touch. And at first I start fumbling to try to take my leash off. And I'm really feeling the shock hit me. And so I switch and I start to call to my wife. And again, we've just been having a very chill, very calm, relaxing day. And so I'm swimmer's distress signal, but I'm not that far from land, and I'm certainly not flailing around. And she kind of took her a second to catch on because she thought I was just goofing around, you know. Sometimes I can be a very goofy person, especially if I'm doing something I love and having fun and it's low risk, seemingly. So I'm waving, and as she's kind of like trying to figure out that I'm actually telling her to come here, I start signaling to 2 other people. And there's this guy that was directly next to us on the beach. And, you know, you try not to overthink these things, but maybe he did, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he thought serves him right because he's out there in the waves or whatever. But for whatever reason, this guy is looking straight at me, sitting in a chair, both hands down, just looking at me. And I'm waving at him, you know, like this. And I'm literally going like this, like, I need a phone call. I need to call phone, help. And the guy just looks at me. But I was just like, wow, I couldn't believe it. So in that same time, my wife makes it out to the water, and it was like a bad movie, you know. She's like in a great mood, and like just thinking we're wrapping up the day. She hadn't caught on to that point. She's like, what, you know? And I'm like, Nicole, I need you to call 911. I need a tourniquet. This is really serious. I'm cut really bad. I need a tourniquet. I need you to call 911. She's like, what? I'm like, I need you to call 911. So she's like, and then it kind of hits her like a wave, right? Because I'm like, I wasn't showing her my leg because I'm holding it. And then she like looked down and noticed I'm holding my leg. And it's like, oh man, this is serious, isn't it? Unfortunately. And so she turns around, goes and gets the phone. And in that moment, there's 2 gentlemen up the beach, probably 5 or 6 parties up the beach. And they're not even closest to shore. They're kind of on the backside of the shoreline. And just so happens that I just have I'm now sitting in the shallows, and back to the muscle cut. I can't really stand up on one hand, and on the other hand, I'm also too afraid to try to stand up in fear that my artery's already cut, or maybe it's half cut, and I was very afraid that I was going to blow it out. And it'd be real serious with very little time, you know? And so I was trying to buy time, like we all are in life, right? And so I slant over and look at this guy. Nicole's getting the call out, and man, like an angel, dude, like a freaking angel. This guy looks at me and he's like, are you good? And man, I've never had to do this. I'm a very independent person, and that's a good thing and a bad thing because you can't stop situations like this. But another humbling aspect of this, you know, I look at him and I'm like, I've literally never had to do this, but I had to shake my head. No, you know, I'm not good. I went like this. I'm not good. Come here, bro. I need a call. I need help. And so, man, like a literal angel, that guy jumps up. He had what I heard was maybe his brother with him or a family member or something. And 2 men run over, and the guy runs right up to me, and I'm just telling him, I'm cut really bad. I need that leash off that surfboard. I need to make a tourniquet. I need help. I'm in trouble. I'm in real trouble, dude. And so that guy retrieves the leash as Nikki's calling the ambulance. And they get me the leash. I get it on my leg. And because I'm holding my wound with the one hand, I was having a really hard time wrapping it around. And nobody really helped me do that because I also didn't ask for help. And also, you know, it was very serious. Like, it was very, especially for two strangers, it was probably a little too serious. And that's okay. And so then Nicole comes back out with 911 on the phone, and they ask me a few things. I tell them where exactly I'm cut, what exactly is happening. And then I know I need a transfer from the shallows, like a foot deep of water, to the shoreline. And that's what my goal was, now that I knew that help was coming. And so, but again, I couldn't really stand up. I can't really walk. I mean, shoot, 9 days later, I can't walk without these crutches. So you can imagine, in the moment, it was like you're bleeding profusely, but then you're also trying to figure out how to just do the most normal bodily function. Like if I threw these crutches over there, I really don't know how the heck I'd get them. I'd have to lay down and crawl, like, on my back or roll. I could hop, but this thing's also feels so much pressure when you put all that pressure on it. So Nicole, like, I have her, like, grab me a towel or something, and I, like, take the towel and wrap it around my leg and then hold that as I transfer, because I also didn't want to see a ton of blood, and also everyone on the beach to see a ton of blood and everyone freak out and circle up around me. I was really trying to avoid that, at least until the help got there. I did not want them to get blocked. So I kept it real chill. And I made it to the water's edge and I sat down. And some people had caught on that something was wrong. And I'll remember these two things before help arrived. One, this lady runs over. And she runs over and she's like, "Oh, honey, I got some ice in the cooler if you need some help with swelling." And I just looked at her so calmly and I said, "Ma'am, I appreciate that, but that's not going to help me. I have a massive gash in my leg." And she was just like, "Oh." And she just turned around. And I mean, I don't fault her for that at all. I say, "Thank you for trying to help me, ma'am." And then at another second, this little kid, probably like 9 years old, and his dad walked by me, and the little kid didn't even pick up on it, and the dad did. And it was just a weird moment in life where you're like, man, I might sit here and die because of my own actions. And, you know, everybody else is going to keep on living, for now at least. And that was like a surreal moment in that. But yeah. So once I'm on shore, I wrap the leash up a bunch more on my leg, like 5-6 wraps. And then the lifeguards first arrived. I think they knew how serious it was. They pulled up really quick, and really fast response. And they first arrived. 4 lifeguards get out, and literally I saw 3 of the guys getting lunch at the Sandcastle Festival when I was getting lunch. I don't know any of them, but I just recognized them right off the bat, and I was like, wow. And I don't know the young lady's name. I would give her props. She definitely saw the severity of it. She definitely took lead over her group. And one of the guys, they had an armband tourniquet. And one of the guys pulls out the tourniquet to put on my leg. He tries to wrap it. I don't know if they'd ever seen such a gnarly leg wound. And I think he's like, shit, this thing's crazy. And it's kind of comical, though. I always remember and laugh, because he pulls the tourniquet around my leg, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, that's an arm tourniquet. I'm not taking this leash off with that thing on my leg. And the blonde chick, she got right on the leash, and she twisted that thing down, and she was like, we're just going to hold it. We're waiting for fire department. And as all that happens, the other guy tries to put the tourniquet on my leg, and he's like, oh shit. And he pulls it real tight, and it just snaps around my leg. And I'm just dropping into full, like, clear-minded disassociation, like, calmness mode. I'm not going to freak out, because I'd be more the type to lose it if I freak out. So I'm not doing it. And mind over matter, they say. But also, I don't know if it would have been like that if I didn't have a control on everything that was happening. So then the fire department gets there, and my wound has still been covered this whole time. I didn't even show the lifeguards. I'm like, I don't even show you. And fire department arrives. They're like, let's see what's going on. They whip that thing back, and then everyone's like, oh, ooh, oh, oh. And then I didn't have to explain much after that. Everyone just snapped into action. Fire department gauzed me up just to help keep the wound clean. And then they whipped out a big, like, 1.5-inch leg tourniquet, put that thing on my leg. It just like they said, the tourniquet hurts. But I mean, it was amazing pain because I knew if I have this on, I have this first responders helping me, I'm going to live through this. And so I was like, I'm going to live through this. That's it. What do we got to do? But also, get me out of here. You know, I really have never been so vulnerable in the place where it's like, I need help. And so, I mean, I could hardly take that one step out of the water. So I don't know how I would have got back to the car. It was up over a sand dune, a mild sand dune, but I mean, let's just say it was a 1/4 mile. Yeah. And quick side note, but you know, thinking of this, man, I surf the beach a lot in the wintertime. If you're a lake surfer, you surf the beach a lot in the wintertime. And I'm just going to be humble and honest. If this would have happened in November, it would have been a different story. And because of that, I am definitely going to do some things differently and take a few more precautions in the future. Because I'm just telling you, it'll turn to life and death faster than you're ready for. It happened to me faster than I was ready for. It has a few times. This was just the first time with any kind of puncture wound, cut, massive bleeding. But yeah, it's happened a few other times with leashes breaking and really feeling the power of that lake without a flotation device. I wouldn't recommend that. Never. So that being said, the saving grace of the lifeguards bringing the fire department, who pulled up in a UTV, and they had a metal basket thing. And again, I've got some pictures of this. I will throw them all in now. I'm going to have to blur out or black out the wound because I don't even know if this is allowed, but I'm going to do it anyways. But the wound was very graphic, so I'm just going to have a black box over it. Some pictures of me on the beach with the leash around my leg, with the lifeguard helping me. And so they load me in this metal basket, put me in a UTV, drive me back across to the parking lot where the ambulance is. And I only took my phone with me at this time. And during that time, I accidentally recorded some of the ride while I'm traveling. I'm going to put that in the video just for the memory and also the context of the space I was in. I was actually really calm. I was talking to everyone. I was dealing with what had went down.
Hurting? Yeah, it's starting to. Yeah. I'm starting to feel it a little bit. You know, no, man. Hey, saving my life today. I got a hand on it up here too, on this backrest. Oh man. All right. Oh, I was just about to head home.
Did you pass out?
Held my swim trunks, kind of flapped my leg back down and held the swim trunks real tight. And I mean, that quick, the water was so red, I was bleeding bad. So,
feeling dizzy, lightheaded at all?
Not laying down, but I'm sure if I was moving around, I wouldn't feel too good.
We're just gonna move you over to our bed.
Okay.
Vitals on you. I'll get an IV. We'll
Okay.
see what your blood pressure's at. Okay.
All right. Hello, sir. I don't know.
1342. When you had it back.
Yeah, nowhere. Yeah, but it was nowhere near as tight. It was probably half shut. Yep.
All right. Gonna lift up a little on him. All right.
We'll go down a little bit.
How you feeling right now, brother?
You know, a little upset, but overall pretty good.
Okay.
Don't feel as shaky or anything.
No lightheadedness or anything?
Nah. All right.
So then we get to the ambulance, and obviously a new team takes me from the fire department. And because the bleeding was so well controlled, once I'm in the ambulance, they're like, let's just go ahead and try to take the tourniquet off. And I was like, no, let's not. Just because I was the first one to kind of shut it off out in the water. And so I had saw what was going on, and I was like, I don't really want to at all, but I trusted everyone, you know, and it was out of my hands at that point. So they tried to take the tourniquet off. And long story short, it wasn't ready. And so not only did they put it back on, and they tighten it down. All the while I'm, you know, apologizing to all this for my wife, who's now left at the beach with our vehicle, 2 SUPs. You know, she carried the paddles over, I carried both the boards. And now she's left with everything down at the beach, and I got to get in this ambulance and leave. So I'm saying sorry to her. And then the ambulance is basically like, yeah, well, we tried to take the tourniquet off. That was a mistake. So we're going to be going to the hospital. Sirens on. Don't follow us. And get there when you get there. And so, boom, we're ripping to the hospital. And I'm 32 years old. Never had to take an ambulance ride before. So living that first, and they're providing some great care to me in the ambulance. So I get to the hospital. They wheel me in. Everyone knows what's going on in a place like that. And so, like, I felt like everyone from the ER came in there real quick and got a quick look at it, because it was like, bam, you know, just like, boom, there's a hole in your leg. Like, it could have been like, put your whole hand in it kind of thing. And long story short, the doc stitches me up with a couple layers, or maybe a few layers of stitches in my deep tissue and outer tissue, and then my skin. And he's sitting there looking at my artery. And my artery didn't get severed. But it did get affected. And so because of that, I was put on bed rest for a few days after it. And it's kind of been a see as it goes kind of thing, but see how things are as you heal. But, you know, it's definitely been a lot more impactful than I initially realized. I mean, I knew kind of right away, oh man, I really jacked myself up. I'm really going to be out of the loop for a while, but it's even been more so than I realized. And so I get home from the hospital that night, and actually my parents came out to the hospital. They come in at like the perfect time for the dramatics of the situation, where it's like, I'd been in there, they got me all ready, and like, boom, he's about to start stitching me up, and they walk in like right at that perfect time. Number one, for, you know, the comfort of them being there, but then also then it's not a story I have to tell them. Then they got to, you know, they were standing bedside, so they got to see it better than anyone really, or as good as anyone on scene, looking right in my leg. And they took pictures of it and stuff. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't really ever want to look at those pictures. So I've seen a few pictures, and that's all I need to see of it. But it's pretty gnarly. So you get me out of that. Next thing I know, I'm headed home, and I survived it, and I just got to heal. And then I get home, and man, my wound dressing starts bleeding bad, and pretty much bled through the ACE wrap. And luckily, I just took it off, threw a couple gauze pads in there, put it back on, and that got me through the night. And since then, it's been decreasing pain every day, but a ton of, you know, I woke up with a ton of tightness. And then the other thing is just really waking up and realizing that, you know, I can't walk. You know, like, I literally, without crutches, I cannot get around. I'm so grateful that I didn't break any tendons, and I can still move my foot, move my toes. But the concept of putting that foot out there and catching my body weight, and then transferring all my weight onto that leg, that is like, that feels very foreign right now, and I'm very, very bummed to admit that. Popping up on a surfboard and tucking into that backside right, that feels like a far way off right now, and I'm gonna proclaim that it's not, but I'm also wise enough to know that it just might be. So then I get home, and again, I've been pretty much handicapped for 9 days. Got a varied future of continued handicappedness, my own personal level of it. I don't wish to offend anyone who is genuinely handicapped with a debilitating disability. Long before I experienced this injury, I witnessed my dad go through really a near-death car accident experience where his legs, for lack of better words, were shattered in more than 28 places, and he nearly died. He basically put it this way: he was on his way home, and it took him 6 months to get home because he had to go to so many hospitals and long care facilities. He got so jacked up in that accident. And I'll say this: he still walks and he still wiggles his toes. So that's a huge part of my encouragement. My other huge part of my encouragement would be, my life I've built here by the lakes. Like I said, I left it all to come out here and chase this dream. So even though this has been terrible and a huge setback, it certainly isn't going to stop me, or it's not going to quell my love and my passion for what I've been chasing, what I've been doing with this, and the life I've built here with my wife and family. And yeah. And if you are disabled out there, I say this has been a huge eye-opener to me of how much I really respect what you have to go through day by day, and how much you've heard it before, but how much we take for granted our capabilities. You might not be where you want to be in life, but you might still be walking across the room fine. You might not be as rich as you want to be yet, but you might still be able to just walk to the bathroom and relieve yourself. You know what I mean? I mean, there are some real benefits to health and a functioning body, and real inspiration for all the people that haven't been granted that, or they lost it, and yet they find a way to live without those same comforts, because it creates all these challenges that you really are like, you got to be beside yourself, because in the past you would have just done it. So, and then even I think 2 nights it happened where I like woke up in my sleep really abruptly, and like my conscious mind had not waken up yet, and I almost just stood up, and I would like fall. I can stand up, but if I try to take a step like out of it, like I would be like, ow, and then I would collapse. So yeah. So I'm on the mend, and the other reason I wanted to shoot this video is I'm going to get the stitches out today, and I'm not excited about that, but I'm excited to heal. I didn't really want this scar, but I'll wear this scar with pride, because the lake could have took me that day, but she let me back to land. And those that dwell on the land really had my back, really got me to where I needed to be, and quite literally put me back together. So again, like I said, I was so busy before all this. I know I've got a session recorded, and I've got to get that together and put it out there. I can't just not. I mean, I've got it recorded. And then I've also got the first session from this board that hurt me recorded. So yeah, I'm gonna post those at some point, probably over the next 2 weeks or so. But this might be all you hear from me for a while. So I'm real sorry to say I'm definitely gonna miss some waves here. And if you're watching this and you're gonna be surfing Lake Michigan or any of the Great Lakes or an ocean spot or anything, and if you want to judge me, if you want to hate on me, like I see in so many of these surfing comments, bro, they're so full of hate, man. If you want to dog and call someone a kook or whatever your little hateful heart desires, go right ahead. Just know that I'm not going to be thinking of you when I die of this world. I'm not going to be thinking of the works you've done. But if you want to show some love, if you want to say, hey man, I got hurt surfing, this is what happened to me, if you want to put that in the comments, if you want to tell me about your experience, I'll read that. We can go through this together. I want to hear what you overcame. I don't just want you to, listen to everything about my life, but I'd rather share and grow together. Because again, my name is Mitchell Milliken. This is Freshwater Vibe. This channel is about surfing. But all in all, I'm really about living this life and having something to hold before I lay down to die. I don't necessarily mean material things by that. I mean sustenance of soul. I think that was one thing that kept me pushing, and always looking within to that higher power, the one that will tell you it's you that has to change. So until you see me back in the water, until you see me back out there, just know it's pure love, and I'll be getting better.